All right, so video 2 in what it's like to live with anxiety. This one, I think I'm going to focus on what it's like to be like overstimulated, I think is what my therapist called it. So basically, I've actually had kind of a rough last couple of weeks, I would say, with my anxiety. I've had trouble getting out of bed, feeling tired, even though I've gotten, plenty of sleep, 8 hours plus. And, just being, like I said, overstimulated. So today is not too bad, luckily. I'm feeling pretty good, so happy to make this video. But let me give you an example of this. So on this past Sunday, it was not necessarily like a Valentine's thing that I did because it was just Valentine's Day with my significant other, but I really wanted to go see a musical that my old high school was putting on. And so my significant other made sure that that happened, and I was very grateful and I was enjoying it. And so we sat down, and there are these tiny seats, and you're really like really close to each other. And it was pretty much a packed house. So I had him sitting on one side of me, and people sitting on the other side of me. And I was getting really into the musical when it was on. Like, I was smiling. They did a phenomenal job. It was really amazing. Probably the best musical I've seen by a high school group ever. I mean, it could have been easily like professional quality, like amazing. It was just phenomenal. And I was getting really into it in like the first act, and then towards the end of the first act, I started like feeling overstimulated, I guess is the best way to, put it. There was a part where the lights were like darker, like a blue light was on the stage, and then all of a sudden they put like a really bright, like, spotlight on there, and I couldn't handle it. I had to close my eyes and not look because all of a sudden I like felt a twitch because of that really bright light. And it like bothered me. And so then the second act comes. So we had intermission and stuff. We got up for a little bit, stretched and whatnot. So the second act comes on, and then I was already overstimulated and feeling like a little off. And then that's when I started to notice that things were happening like we were in the balcony, so across the way on the other side there's these, the lights that are on the sides of the chairs so that you can see in the aisle so you don't fall on your face when you're trying to go up and down the stairs in the balcony. Well, somebody moved either their leg or their head or something, and that light was like right, like bugging me, like right in my eye. And it happened like several times where that person moved, and like that light just too much. And then I noticed the person next to me was just breathing so loudly, and I couldn't be like, I'm way too nice to people. I couldn't just be like, could you just quiet it down? And I could never do that. So it just like her breathing and that, and then the lights changing. Anytime my mind, like when I was like really into it in the beginning, but then my mind would start to wander at different parts, and that's where I felt like overstimulated, because all of a sudden I noticed all these other things when my brain wasn't actively focused on this exciting part of the plot, and it would just got for wandering just for a little bit. All of a sudden little tiny things were just bugging me, the person in front of me, tapping their foot. I just could tell everything. And I guess that is a symptom of anxiety, and it's really bothersome because it tires you out. You feel like, stop breathing so loud. Somebody turn off the lights. So yeah, it was a really nice experience. We went and had dinner at my favorite restaurant. Luckily, it was actually really not busy because it was a Sunday night at the restaurant. They have, really dark lighting, really relaxing place. So I felt a lot better after I went there, and like I was able to enjoy the rest of the evening. But I still really enjoyed the musical, but I just had this everything, little tiny thing was going on. There was too much going on all at once, and I just couldn't handle it. And assuming that you know, probably people with ADD have a similar thing, maybe. I don't know, or maybe they can handle it better, or honestly, I don't have that disorder, but I've heard that when you have ADD, your attention, like, you notice every little thing. You can have your attention on every little tiny piece, you notice everything. So I don't know if that's a way that I can understand people or whatnot. If you have ADD or you know somebody, that would be awesome to hear a comment about that, and see if we can, that's a way that we can relate to one another in our different disorders that we have of the brain, different ways our brain works. They're not disorders. We'll just call them just our unique ways of thinking about things. So anyway, so that's overstimulation. Another way to describe it was last night. My significant other was watching a Netflix show, and every tiny little thing that happened, it was like a really strong drama. Every little thing that happened, I just couldn't handle, like oh, somebody got shot, or oh, this happened, and oh, like, this person's dying, and it was just too much. And the lights, like the lights at my house, and I love my house and I like the lighting at my house, but I couldn't handle it. I had to turn off all the lights. I just couldn't watch that show anymore after the second episode of watching it, because it's just so dramatic and so much going on. I just couldn't handle it. And I don't know why. And I know I can just be like, oh, it's my anxiety or whatever, but when you're overstimulated, like, all I wanted to do last night was to just go and sit in quiet and like lay there with the lights off, because there's too much going on otherwise. So I'm sure that other people out there can understand that and relate to that, and let me know if you do, and maybe tell me some experiences of what you've had with overstimulation in your environments, and how you handle it. How do you go into a quiet, dark room and just relax? Is there certain techniques that you use? That'd be really helpful. So let me know, and you know, I plan to make more videos, so keep me posted, people. Tell me what you want to hear, and I would be happy to talk about it in my own personal experiences. So today was a better day. I got to do stuff that I really enjoyed, and I'm really glad that I could make this video. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in.